please ensure that you have read and understood all instructions on the screen before undertaking this job. Start by parking the vehicle on flat, level ground with the handbrake applied. Turn the vehicle off and ensure both front and rear wheels are suitably chocked and the vehicle is safely secured before proceeding. Today we're going to be installing our Superior Engineering Toyota Hilux Revo underbody protection and recovery point. Firstly, we can begin by removing all factory underbody protection, and as well at the front of the vehicle, we'll be removing the passenger side radiator support panel. Once this radiator support panel has been removed, we can now install our Superior Engineering tow point into the exact same factory captive nuts in the chassis using our new high tensile bolts. On this recovery point, I want to make sure we're using Loctite 262 on all threads and torquing these to spec, as these will be fully covered at the end of installation. We can then move to the vehicle's gearbox crossmember, where we'll be installing items 5 and 6, our threaded nut plates, into this crossmember to make sure we're ready for the fitment of item 3 later on. Moving back to the front of the vehicle, we can begin by installing our button head bolts and nut protector to the remaining radiator support panel and our recovery point, and leaving these bolts hanging nice and loose. Then we want to grab item 1 of the exploded view, which will be slotted onto these 2 loose fitted bolts, and then moving to the front of this plate, installing the 2 button head bolts and bolt head protectors into captive nuts inside the chassis. Now moving to item 2 of the exploded view, we can begin by slotting the front of this plate into the rear 2 bolts of item 1 that have been left hanging loose, and then moving to the rear of item 2, we can begin installing our button head bolt and bolt head protectors into more captive nuts in this crossmember, making sure we leave the rear 2 bolts of item 2 hanging loose with plenty of thread showing again. We can now move to item 3 of the exploded view. You can begin by installing this between the chassis crossmember and item 2. On item 3 at the rear of this, we want to install the furthest right hand bolt, making sure this is left loose in preparation for item 4 to be installed. Item 4 of the exploded view, this plate can be sandwiched between item 3 and the gearbox crossmember, and then we'll be moving across to the passenger side chassis rail, where we'll be installing one of our button head bolts and bolt head protectors into a captive nut in the chassis. Once this is installed loosely, we can move back to the gearbox crossmember, where we'll be again installing our button head bolt, spring washer and bolt head protector into item 6, the threaded nut plate that was originally installed into the gearbox crossmember. You can now begin working front to back of the vehicle and torquing all bolts to specifications, making sure Loctite 262 is used on all threads. Once this is done, your Hilux Revo is installed with our Superior Engineering stainless steel underbody protection recovery point, and you're ready to hit the road.